All right, Al, thank you very much. Coming up next, Clay Aiken, Scream, spreading some holiday cheer. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Clay Aiken has come a long way since his days on American Idol. His debut album, Measure of a Man, went double platinum. And a new holiday CD, Merry Christmas with Love, just hit store shelves on Tuesday. Well, now Clay can also add author to the list of his accomplishments with his new book, Learning to Sing, Hearing the Music in Your Life. Clay Aiken, who's nursing a bad cold this morning. How are you, Clay?
I've been better, but it's good to be here.
It's nice to have you. You know, most people write autobiographies when they're a little older. You're 25. I guess you're going to be 26 on November 30th. Right. Why did you think this was the right time to tell your story, Clay?
I don't know that I would even call it an autobiography. I think it's more of an opportunity for me to tell different stories that happened, different people I met, different experiences I had in my life, and just kind of talked about what I learned from them. I think the Idol experience itself was such a big lesson. Taught me a lot about myself, a lot about what I'm doing, but there's so many other things that have happened that it took sitting back and looking at what I've gone through to kind of know how I became who I am today.
What did the whole American Idol experience teach you, other than it's fun to be it's fun to be famous?
Well, it didn't even teach me that. Sometimes it teaches you that
it's
not
so
much
fun.
Right. You know, it taught me a lot about believing in myself and having a lot of confidence in who I am and what I want, what I believe I'm good at. But there are a lot of other things that have happened, you know, before that I didn't realize taught me about that I'm good at certain things, and so it was an opportunity to just be able to look at being picked on in middle school and how that helped me identify myself and you know what it took to be proud of who I am.
And to give you some strength. I think sometimes it's the hard stuff that teaches you the most important lessons, clearly. And in the book you write, I was dubbed a loser throughout most of my childhood. As a kid, I was an insult magnet, a nerd who loved his grandparents, who wore the wrong clothes, who liked the wrong things, who had goofy hair and glasses, who didn't smoke or drink. It made for a lonely childhood.
And what's different now? Nothing.
No, you know what? Well, that's a point, because don't you think often what people consider nerdy when they're young can be really actually quite cool when they get older, because it means you're an individual, you stand up for what you believe, you don't succumb to peer pressure,
Absolutely.
You're not a conformist, and I think all those things are much more appealing as people get older and more mature.
I think it's about accepting who you are. It's not about whether you wear the right clothes. I mean, there are plenty of people who do wear what's considered cool and buy the most expensive things and are not happy with themselves,
right,
and then don't come across as self-confident. And I think it's about knowing who you are and believing in yourself, no matter what you wear, what you look like, how you do your hair, or even if you do it on your own. So,
a lot of product in there this
plenty
morning,
of it.
huh?
Don't let it match.
It's like the Don King thing going on. But how did these things that you experienced in your childhood scar you? Clearly it must have been tough, and it must have had some kind of lasting impact for you.
I think that a lot of the bad stuff. My mom always said, you know, it's not worth going through anything if you're not going to learn something from it. I've always come from a family where we were just told to laugh things off. We always laugh stuff off. We're not confrontational. We don't really let things get to us. That's one of the things I've always been taught. So
is that good or bad? You
know, I don't know that it's necessarily great, but it hasn't proven to be bad for me. I think as I sat down and wrote about some things like my biological father and my strained relationship with him, and the death of my sister, and my relationship with my stepfather, it was very therapeutic to actually have to think about what I learned from each experience. You know, my relationship with my stepfather was kind of strained throughout my especially my teenage years, and it took his illness for me to really see him in a more human light. And I think one of the things that made his death so difficult was just that sting of regret that I never actually formed a better relationship with him, and it was very actually draining to actually go through some of that stuff. And so I think that holding some of my feelings about that in and not expressing them beforehand made me regret the fact that I didn't have a relationship with him more.
You know, I know that you were a special ed teacher, right? Before this whole crazy ride began, and you've said once it's over, you're going to go back to Raleigh. Do you really think that's possible to go back? Can you go home again, as Thomas Wolfe says?
It's tough to even go back now. I don't know if I'd ever be able to be a teacher necessarily. You know, I don't think that I'd garner much respect as a teacher right now. But you know, part of what I want to do with the foundation that I've helped to set up is to be able to teach maybe on a larger scale. I kind of still see myself as a teacher, and I see this as an opportunity to do the same thing. You know, I don't know if this book will necessarily change anybody's life. It'll probably, you know, let someone rest their coffee on it.
Well, it sounds like it was really healthy for you to write it.
It was,
and
absolutely.
You learned a lot about yourself. Before we go, I mentioned you have a new Christmas CD out. You sing my very favorite Christmas song, so I promised that I would play a little bit of it to our viewers a few minutes ago. So,
have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light.
I just love that song.
It's a good
It
song.
just slays me when they sing it and Meet Me in St. Louis. So you enjoyed doing this CD?
I did. It was an opportunity to do some stuff that's very classic. I think what's different about this album is that it's not very different. It's not. We didn't try to do anything edgy and new in 2005. We did a classic album that hopefully people can enjoy year after year.
Well, it's great to see you,
Good to see you,
I'm
too.
glad things are going well. I'm sorry you're not feeling so hot today, but
come
take
back when
care
I'm
of
feeling
yourself. And Clay's going to be back to sing a holiday song for us from his new Christmas album on December 8th. So we're excited about that. Maybe he'll sing this for me. And it'll be a great preview for his primetime holiday special. You can watch that very same night at 8/7 Central right here on NBC. It's all Clay all the time here. I'm a Claymate.
Good.
It's official.